So today guys, we are looking at doing some more work in the Nether with building a Hoglin farm. Now this is going to be Ilmango's Hoglin farm design basically, and I will put a link to his video in the description, and that's a tutorial he does in creative mode. But the difference is today we're going to be looking at how to do it in survival mode, which does present some very unique challenges because you have to build it in a biome that is reasonably dangerous. You are going to get a lot of Hoglins spawning, which is why I didn't take my armor off for the intro. A ghast was shooting at me before, which is why it's been blowing holes in my base, and you guys are going to have to deal with all of that, plus potentially clearing an area to make it in if you don't build on the Nether roof. So we're going to talk about all of that today. I'm going to start off by getting all the stuff together off cam that you need to build this thing, so you get a full materials list, including how to source some of those items in case you didn't know, and then we're going to look at how to build the farm. So let me go and get all of that stuff done off cam, and then I'll bring you back when we're ready to get started with making this farm, which will give us lots of leather and pork chops. It's a very useful early game farm and one I highly recommend. Plus the actual materials which you're about to see are pretty minimal. Like, you can probably build this on day one of your Minecraft world, which is pretty awesome in itself. So before I get into actually making the farm, I've decided I want to do a bit of enchanting because I am at level 30 and there's a good chance I will die, so I just will make the most of that while I can. So we've got this space here to do a bit of enchanting down in our hobbit hole, and again, enchanting we're going to need to do a lot of, so it seemed to make sense that we'd start on this today. So I've got the enchantment table there, and somewhere in here I'm still getting to learn this storage system, even though I know I was the one who set it up. It's just a little bit confusing. We're going to need, let's see, we need 15 bookshelves, right? So that's enough, and we've got a few resources left over. So we can go ahead and place this down in here, I guess about there would do, and get some of these bookshelves around for our first level 30 enchant. And the big question is what I want to do for that, because I may only get one enchant done here today. So I guess what is the most important thing is kind of going to depend as well on what's available to us. Like an infinity bow would be really useful. So let's see what we've got. We've got some lapis here as well, and I believe this will be our first enchant on this world. So fire protection is not bad given that we're in the Nether. Protection 3 isn't great for the others there. What about the bow? Unbreaking isn't bad, but then really what we could do with is infinity. Now, silk touch, is that on all tools? If it is, I think a silk touch pick would be kind of cool. I will just check what this is going to do though. Looting 2 is not bad either actually, but I really want to hold out for looting 3. So I think we're going to have to take a silk touch on here, so let's go ahead and do that. Efficiency 4 as well. Okay, that's awesome. And I might just check what our next one's going to be. So power 4 bow is very useful. Unbreaking on our armor, including the helmet. Okay, cool. And looting 3. Okay, that's going to be the next one that we do. So we'll do a bit of enchanting throughout the episode. But my first tip really is, if you're building this in survival mode, is first of all, you definitely want a good lot of armor, and you definitely want at least one piece of golden armor. The golden armor, for those who don't know, that will prevent the piglins from attacking you. So I'd say that's pretty much essential. And then the rest, you want it diamond, enchanted if possible, just to give you as much protection as possible. I also highly recommend a shield, and also a ranged weapon like a bow or a crossbow, potentially a trident, depending on how far in the game you are, but bow or crossbow would be preferred. And obviously you're going to need a lot of arrows for that as well, and if not, a good diamond sword is also going to be useful. So do make sure you're geared up. This farm, although the materials list you're about to see is not too bad, building this in survival mode, you definitely want to have a lot of protection and a lot of attacking potential. So a couple of things I want to talk about before we build the farm is how you can clear an area as quickly as possible in order to have a space to actually build the farm in. Now, you don't need a huge area for this farm, but if you are looking to build it in the normal Nether as opposed to building up on top of the Nether roof, the way to do that is obviously you do need to clear like these things. So obviously you're going to need a couple of things for that. So a diamond axe is going to be really useful to have efficiency for the wood. That one's kind of obvious. Maybe less obvious is this stuff, which if I was to break this with an axe, you can see how long it takes here. And okay, it's not like forever, but there's a lot of it. Whereas if you use a hoe, you'll see it breaks much quicker. So hoes are absolutely the tool to use for these. These are called the Nether warp blocks. And oh wait, hang on, I'm gonna die. All right. Yeah, these guys are all over the place here. Now that, like, the spawn rates they have when you're building the farm and stuff, and when you're exploring the Nether, is a little bit tricky to navigate and is going to cause you problems. But those same spawn rates are why this farm is so efficient, and it's going to get you a lot of leather and pork chops, so that's good. So yeah, so you're going to need the hose to get rid of this stuff, basically. Now, the upside of this is you're going to get a lot of building blocks, which are pretty nice and pretty cool building blocks. Obviously, part of the update as well, that you get so many of these, because they're essentially like the leaves for these trees. So yeah, quite nice that you get them, but a little bit tedious to get them, so you definitely want a hoe for that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and clear this whole area around here until I've got what I... Wait, let's go back in here. What I perceive to be enough, and then once we have enough, we can start looking at building it. But I'm just going to give you the little things that I'm finding along the way doing this in survival, as I mentioned at the start of this video. One one other little tip actually is the Warped Fungus. So we needed to talk about this anyway, about first of all how you can find it, which you can find it in the biome here. It will just be on the floor, so you can pick these up just with your hand. You don't need anything special for that. But essentially how this farm works is the Hoglins are actually afraid of these. So they're a useful block to have on you, because there we go, if this guy here starts chasing me at the moment he's fighting the piglins, I'll get one. Oh wait, here we go, he's chasing me. If I place that down, you see there, they get scared away from it, and then he went off to fight those guys, or he's just running away. So you can place that on the floor and stand near it, and then the Hoglins won't come near you. I'll try and show you that again. So this guy over here, he's definitely locked onto me. If I place that down, there we go. He doesn't want any of it. So this could definitely save your life when you're trying to build it. When you're clearing that area or whatever, if you want to keep them away, either you could place a few down and then start cutting the trees down, or you could just keep them on you, and if a Hoglin starts to come at you, you just place it on the ground there. It's important to note this cannot be placed on netherrack or wood or anything like that. It does need to be placed on this stuff, which name escapes me. I'll put it on screen right now, the actual name of it. But yeah, it does need to be placed on this looking material right here, not the netherrack or anything else. So yeah, just a quick one, guys. This is called Crimson Nylium. I couldn't remember the exact name, but that's what it is. Now, I've got a Silk Touch pickaxe right here, and you'll see it really goes through it very quickly. So if you want to pick this stuff up, you do need Silk Touch, but that is the way to do it. And the pickaxe is working very fast on that. So yeah, that's what it is. Just thought I'd mention that. I'm going to get back to doing what I was doing, taking all these trees down. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that as I derped up a bit there before. So I've cleared a big area here from all of the nether trees that were here, and one little tip, if you are clearing an area, it's quite useful to have the Warped Fungus and place them down on the Crimson Nylium, because it will keep the Hoglins away while you're chopping down the trees, so quite useful for sure. Now, in terms of materials, there's things you're going to need in order to build this thing. Now, here's like an interesting point. So in this chest right here, I have all of the materials that I need, and there's a materials list in the description as well. What I'm concerned about is the piglins are probably going to get aggro at me if I open this chest. So this is something that I kind of hadn't thought about, because they don't like you opening chests. Now, I'm not sure if it's the opening of them or the taking things from them. Now, I haven't had too much trouble in my base, apart from when one got in. But let's see right now, this guy right here, if I open this chest, yeah, okay, he's really not happy about that. Okay. And so I'm going to come in here. Oh, okay, he was already on really low health. So this is something you're going to have to think about again if you're doing this in survival mode. You know, this is a little bit of an issue. So you just want to be careful, I suppose, that there's no piglins around you when you're opening your chest. If there are, you may want to wall yourself in or just do something to keep yourself safe. So these are the materials that you're going to be needing. Basically, loads of cobblestone slabs to save on resources instead of using full blocks. Some building blocks and ladders and things like that for the AFK area. We'll come on to all of this, obviously, in a bit as well. Got some stairs here, which these may or may not be used. What I'll put in the description is the list of what I actually end up using. I'm going to talk you through a couple of different ideas and options you have for building this farm as we go through. Then you're going to want dirt to place Warped Fungus on. Now, you need 3 Warped Fungus, but at the moment I'm using all of mine. So I'm going to grab them in a second when we have an area to escape to, so the Hoglins will not get us. You're going to want some lava, some signs, some torches, 40 trapdoors, and 8 hoppers. So the 40 trapdoors and the 8 hoppers, if you're building this design, are needed. These other blocks, as you'll see in a bit, can be tailored a little bit. So I'm going to go and make a little bit of a prep area here to show you guys the next part of this tutorial, which is how to build it. But what I've done here is this chest here is going to be our output chest. You want to start with wherever you want your output chest to be. Then you're going to place hoppers on top of that. So if we grab these hoppers out here, obviously you want a hopper going into that, or at least one. You could put 2 going into that, and then the rest are going to go in a line like this. Like that. So this is going to be the sort of kill chamber where the Hoglins fall into, and then basically we'll be building up blocks around that in just a second. So another difference about building in the Nether as opposed to the overworld is when you're building these tall structures that you need to get up and down from. Obviously we have our materials in here, and this is going to be the kill chamber, as I mentioned before. Now I've done it this way with half slabs to give it a little bit of design. You guys could build this out of full blocks, or really anything you want. Obviously I wouldn't use normal wood. You can use nether wood because obviously it's flammable. So cobblestone's probably the best, because after a couple of hours of mining you'll have tons of that anyway. But the point is, I've got this ladder going up here to get myself up and down. Unlike the overworld, you can obviously use like a water drop or something like that. You could use ender pearls, but again, this is meant to be an early game farm, and if you're like me right now, you don't have any ender pearls, or certainly not enough if you're going to be going up and down all the time. So the way I've been doing this is just building up like this for each new layer that I put on, and then just shift clicking a ladder like that, so I can get up and down using the ladder. Now it is just a small thing, but it is still worth mentioning, I thought, because otherwise you could end up building this entire thing and then find that you can't get down without dying, which would suck a little bit. So what I'm doing in terms of the height of this, because I know people will want to know. Hey guys, this is just a very brief clip to explain something about the height of this farm. So I mentioned in the video that I was starting off looking at doing it about 20 blocks high and all this sort of stuff. Guys, it needs to be about 40 blocks. I found through trial and error when I was making that. So what I've done is I ended up digging down here, and you do see this later on in the video. But in case any of you were getting started with this, I didn't want you to sort of build it wrong and then have to redo it, because obviously that's a bit of a pain. So 40 blocks, guys, from the bottom platform of the fall down to the hoppers is about what you want, because the hoglins, it turns out, take a fair whack to kill them. So make sure you make it 40 blocks. Don't do 20. You will have to then add another 20 on. So just wanted to mention that really quickly, guys. We'll get straight back now to wherever I put this in the video. What's going to happen is the hoglins are going to fall down. They're going to hit lava on their way down, so they'll be set on fire. They'll take some fall damage when they hit the bottom, and also they will then drop the cooked pork chop, because they'll be dying as a result of the lava burning them. So really, you don't have to have this too high up. It will just make it a little bit more efficient if you have it higher, because obviously they will die quicker when they fall and take more fall damage. So you can kind of tailor that bit to the number of materials you have. As for me, I'm going to go about 30 blocks up. I think that sounds like a good number to me. I'm also conscious of not going too close to the roof, so we have space to actually build this thing. But that's just to answer a couple of little questions and little things that you might want to think about as you're going through. So I'm going to keep going until I finish this chamber, and then we'll have a look at the next bit once we get up there. Well, I've now built up about 20 blocks in total, so that is 20 from here down to where those hoppers are, and that is going to be the shortest fall, because there's going to be a couple layers to this. This is layer 1 right here. The other layers are going to be above, so it's going to be a minimum of 20. I was kind of dictated by the roof as well. I wanted to make sure I could get it all fit in here. But 20 is going to be fine, and we'll see how it works in practice in a little bit. So basically, I've got my ladder going the whole way up here like this, and this is obviously the killing chamber. And you guys will be familiar with the trapdoor method of just having 2 trapdoors like this. So if we were to open them both, they would be like this, and this is how mobs see them. So they think they can walk across, but then of course they fall to their death. So this is going to be the spawning platform. I built this out of the cobblestone slabs, and we've got a bit of a wall here like this to funnel them all down into here, and we're going to get them to go into here by scaring them with warped fungus, and again, I'll show you that in a second, but we're not going to use those until we get to level 2, and again, that will all be explained. So this is where the stairs come into it, and I said it doesn't have to be stairs. Ilmango uses stairs in his design. I thought it actually looked quite nice to have that, because it gives that sort of wall effect. But you could use, 4 blocks or whatever you wanted, really, just to make sure they funnel in. So again, the description list will tell you all of the materials for this one, but you might want to tailor it. Now, in terms of the stairs themselves, basically you're going to place them down like this if you are using stairs, more blocks or whatever, and you're going to just have to shift and go across like this. So it's a little bit tedious, but again, this is the difference doing it in survival as opposed to creative. Once that's done, you can just jump up and place the second layer, and that is all you actually need. It's just 2 high each wall here, so that's going to be enough for them to funnel in, and then you'll have the next sort of layer of the farm up here. There we go, like this. So they'll spawn under here, they'll go down, and then they'll be spawning above and going down, and so on and so forth. So obviously we're going to build up the back of this as well. And I can just kind of keep my design with slabs going like this all the way around. Should look kind of nice come the end, hopefully, at least nice enough for an early game farm. And yeah, and that'll keep the kill chamber working, and then obviously we'll do the trapdoor thing on each level as we go. So I made a slight mistake in the last clip, nothing too much to worry about, but I placed this at the wrong level, so I want to bring this in straight away and let you guys know that basically if we grab ourselves some netherrack here, you'll see the height this needs to be. We place 2 blocks, it's basically 2.5, and then the next one is placed on the 3rd block. So what that means if we go upstairs here is that of course this half slab is in such a way that mobs can spawn on it. The way you can check that is if I was to place a netherrack block down here, for example, any full block you can do this with. If it is flush with the level, then you know it is at the correct height. Whereas if we were to build here like this and try and put another block on top, there would be a gap of air because it's not able to go flush with it. So it's just like a quick way that you guys can like double check that stuff. So yeah, this is where the next level is going to be. Now what that means is, like with the stairs, for example, this is how we had it before over this side. So there would be a gap, but you can place stairs on top if you want, like I've done over here, and just build up that way. Of course, you may not be using stairs, so it just depends on whatever you're using and that type of thing. Now, as for the trapdoors, they're going to place them along here like this. Again, 4, oops, that was not supposed to go there. So 4 on each side, just the same as before, and we're going to open those up as well, and place 4 along here. Now, if I go back downstairs real quick, I'll show you guys that when the trapdoors are placed, there is this sort of overhang here. Don't worry about that, it's not going to affect things at all. The Hoglins can easily get through here like this, and they will get through there like that. It doesn't slow them down at all. So this is definitely the most compact way of building this. Now, you could leave the gap and just build the stairs up above for the next level, but I think building them with the extra stairs is good if you have the resources to do that. So that's the way I'm going to go for my farm. So I hope that's clear. If you have any questions, of course, you can ask me down in the comments, and I'll do my best to let you know. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I'll try and edit the last clip or something potentially to make sure that it's not misleading for you guys. I'll do my best. So we're going to get this thing just about completely built now. And then I'll go into speccey mode and show you properly how everything looks. One final thing to mention before we do the overview is basically, actually it's kind of two final things, but basically we got the fungus here. We need 2 of these in total and 2 dirt blocks from the gone. So you come in 1, 2, and on the third one there is where you can place it, and the same down this end. So 1, 2, and on the third it goes out there like that. Now this will do all 3 levels, so the level below, the level above, and of course the level that it's on. The other thing is the trapdoors. So what we need to do is go along the back here and place trapdoors like this, and then on this level too as well. Now the reason for that is so that the Hoglins, when they run off the edge here, they don't get stuck on the trapdoors. It's a slim chance of it happening, but for maximum efficiency, you just want to make sure you do that. And we need to do the level below as well. That's what I said about keeping these little staircases so you can get between levels until the farm is finished. Is a pretty good idea in survival mode. Again, you know, in creative mode you can just fly around, but in survival you want to make it as easy as possible. So that's the 40 trapdoors used up. So if you've done it correctly, you'll know, because all 40 will be used up as you get to that point. So now that's all in place, our farm is just about ready to close up. So we just need to kind of get the ladder the whole way up so we can get up and down, and close off these areas here, get rid of the staircases and stuff, and then we'll talk about where you can AFK for this as well. So yeah, the overview is coming, guys. I keep remembering like other things I need to do before the overview, but I will do it, and no doubt in the comments I will have timestamped it as well, so you guys can skip ahead to it and stuff. So let me just go finish this up, and then we'll take a look at it in action. So the farm is just about built now, and the overview is coming. I know I keep promising it, but basically we need to talk very briefly about the lava chamber. So the way to do this, if you're building it like I am retrospectively, is to not die, is to come up to about here, so you just sort of below this. Now it doesn't matter hugely where you place it, to be honest. So you place like a couple of slabs like this, and you kind of break it into your farm, and we'll patch that up in a second. Okay, so now this is where you're going to need your signs and your lava. So you guys will be familiar with the trick of just placing signs down like this to prevent the lava from falling. It will just kind of be stuck there. Now the point of that is to set the Hoglins on fire, and then they'll fall and they'll be on fire, but they're not going to die in the fire. You're not going to lose any drops, that sort of thing. You're going to die down on those hoppers there. So you're just about ready to go. Now, what I'd suggest here is you want to be pretty quick with getting... you place the lava, and then you want to place your cobblestone slabs back where they were before. So we're going to place the lava in the far corner like this, and then very quickly want to do this, because you don't want to flood the area with lava. So now that's sat there happily, we can place that in, and the farm is just about ready to go. So we can come back out onto our ladder. Well, no. Okay. Yeah, so you want to be careful. So we can come back to our ladder, hold shift to stay still, and just get rid of those little bits there. So that's now complete. So yeah, so there we go. So now the farm is literally ready to go, because the Hoglins now will try to pathfind over, and they will fall down into here and die. Now, as I mentioned before, when you open a chest, you're going to have a problem with piglins. So what I think I'm going to do, and something you might want to consider, is build a little tunnel between my base here and this. But you certainly, I would say, want a room where you can open this chest. Now, one thing you could do is place a bit of a rim around here like this. So I'm just giving you this as an option for something you may want to consider. So you'd have it like this, and you'd put a door in, say, like here-ish, right? So you can come in through the door and then place some blocks along here as well. Okay, now what this is going to do, you guys might already be figuring this out, but you come in through your door here, and you're in here. If you open the chest, the piglins are going to come for you, but you can kill them, right? And they cannot attack you, apart from they can shoot at you. So you may even want to go as far as building a little area like underneath that you can escape to, or even like a room within a room where you could, you know, block a bit off like this, for example. So if you get into trouble, you can kind of hide away. I've run out of blocks, but I think you guys get the idea. Now, this isn't, you know, necessarily linked to this farm, but I just thought, you know, it's one of the things you do need to consider in survival, because the piglins, when you open that chest to get your meat and stuff, they are going to be a bit unhappy. So you want to think about that. So the issue with the piglins wanting to attack you every time you open a chest got me thinking, and there's actually a pretty good workaround for this. So what we're going to do is place a couple blocks here like this, and a couple blocks here like this. We're then going to place down some rail in here, and we're going to use minecart with chests. Place 2 of those. So we can open these, and piglins, if they're only around, they will not attack you, basically, if you use a minecart with chests. So right now, if there was pork chops going in there, it works the same way. It's going to go into this right here. But we can access this whenever we like. It will mean that we don't need to wall this off or anything like fancy like that. It will simply be there. Now, yes, okay, there's 10 extra iron involved, plus a bit of iron for the rails, but it does give you a bit of peace of mind. So it's just another option, you know, if you don't want to build like the tunnel or the walled-in area, could be good. But you can see here, I'm opening this. This guy, he ran over, but he's not worried about attacking me. And I have tested this. I was up there a minute ago with the adult piglins as well. They do not attack you guys when you open a minecart with chests. So that's the way we're going to sort of work around this. Well, the hoglins actually had a lot more health than I realized, and dropping them 20 blocks just was not going to cut it. So what I did is I've dug down here, made the tunnel a lot longer. So basically, they now drop about 40 blocks, which seems to be working quite well. And then we still got the minecarts under here with the hoppers going into them, storing our stuff, which I just cleaned out, which is why there's nothing in there. Now, in terms of drops and AFKing, first of all, the AFK platform, you want to make it somewhere between about 24 and 32 blocks away. So I've just gone in here, made a little room down in here that I can sit in and AFK, and it's just about 30 blocks between that and the first of the platforms, so the lowest platform, if you like, of the 3. So AFK and under there is going to be fine. And in terms of the drop rate, we're looking at about 2 stacks of cooked pork per hour, which is very different to Ilmango's drop rates. But his was built in a perfect scenario, you know, above the nether on the roof. Whoa, my goodness. I was not expecting that. Yeah, his was built under perfect conditions. And again, in survival mode, for different reasons, you may not always be able to build it in perfect conditions. So you can see around here, there's a lot of hoglins and other mobs and things. So this is all going to affect the spawn rates, of course. Now, some things you could do about that is, for example, get loads of these warped funguses and just place them all around the farm everywhere to keep the hoglins away for, you know, a good radius around the farm. Or you could, you know, place blocks down, slabs and things like that. But it's going to be a bit of an effort, so it just depends whether or not you want to do that. I guess it depends how much of the stuff you need. But I'm just trying to give you guys a realistic sort of, you know, how much you're going to get if you do this in survival mode like I have here, as opposed to perfect conditions. Now, with that being said, I do have a video linked in the description that will show you how to get to the nether roof and back and all that sort of stuff. So if you do want to build in the nether roof, then there'll be an option there for you. Okay guys, so here it is. This is the farm, and we're doing a bit of an overview here of how it looks. And a lot of you will be able to build it just from this. So if you've skipped to this bit of the video, it would have been timestamped in the comments, then this might well be enough. So first of all, we'll talk about the drop, which in here, the drop is about 40 blocks from those hoppers down there. If we go right up here to, you know, like the first sort of area that they walk off. Now, I'll put the lava down in here. The lava can go just about anywhere down in this drop. Just figured why not have it at the top, and they'll start taking the fire damage then sooner as well. It's just a little bit more efficient. We've got a ladder going all the way up. That's in case we need to come up here and make any changes in the future, but also when we're building it in survival mode, you're going to need that. So what we've got are these spawning platforms, of course. Now, these come out here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks. Okay, so from here, you've got 5 blocks out this way. Then we've got 16 blocks in total in this direction, like this. Okay, so the lengthwise is 16. So there's a 4 in the middle there, and then there's 6 either side. So basically, this here is a 4 wide gap for the hoglins to get into, and the 6 blocks this side and 6 blocks this side. We have torches going all the way down the middle, and that makes it sure that only hoglins will spawn there, as the light level does not affect them, but it will stop things like piglins spawning and that type of thing. So then we have over here the dirt with the warped fungus on top. So you've got that on the 3rd block, so 1, 2, and number 3. You place the dirt, the warped fungus, and we do the same over this side, and that's of course in the middle platform, and that ensures that wherever the hoglins spawn on these 3 platforms, this one fungus on each side will take care of that. So then, of course, at the back here, we've got these trapdoors. Pretty simple how that works, you know, so they think they can walk across here, but they don't. They fall down to their death, of course. And around the back here, we use stairs to make the walls quite nice, but as I mentioned in the video, it doesn't necessarily have to be built with stairs, these bits. You could build them with, you know, any blocks that you want, really. And again, the chamber, you know, I put a bit of design to it, but again, you could just have the solid or do whatever you like with that. And then I did mention in the video as well the AFK platform just down here, about 30 blocks away from the first platform. I think maybe 28 blocks away mine is from the first platform. So that's basically it, guys. It's a reasonably simple farm. I just wanted to cover it today, A, because I wanted to make it and have this leather and cooked pork chop farm in my world. But also to show you guys how to build it in survival mode, because it's definitely different building in survival as opposed to creative. So hopefully that's probably enough explanation as to how you build it, coupled with, of course, my video showing you the little step-by-step. But if you do have any questions, please do let me know down in the comments, and I will always do my best to, you know, get back to you and let you know any problems that you're having, how to solve them. So that's about it, guys. If you enjoyed today's video, please do consider liking and subscribing. It's greatly appreciated. But also, I am looking to make this Nether series into a continued series on my channel. So if I get enough people liking and subscribing, then that will probably be the case. So if you want to see more, then please do consider that. But for today's episode, that is about it. So as always, I just want to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.